housewife and is married to John, a successful lawyer, but their marriage is in crisis. Anne finds her life boring and monotonous, suffering from sexual frigidity and constant anxiety. She sees a therapist with whom she shares her problems, including the fact that she does not experience any pleasure from sex with her husband. John in turn hides from her that he has a mistress, Cynthia, Anne's younger sister, who leads a more liberated life and enjoys her sexuality. John and Cynthia meet regularly for sex, while Anne remains in the dark. John is a typical representative of a successful man who uses his power and attractiveness to manipulate those around him, including his wife. Anne feels unhappy, her life seems empty, and she doesn't understand why she feels this way. At this point in their lives comes Graham, an old friend of John's who comes to town. Graham is a man with a mysterious past, and he catches Anne's attention with his unusual and seemingly deep thoughtfulness. Graham tells her that he has been doing an unusual project lately, filming interviews with women in which they talk frankly about their sex lives and fantasies. These interviews he records on videotapes, and he has already accumulated a whole collection. Anne is at first shocked by his confession. She does not understand why women agree to such things. However, she soon becomes more and more interested in him, and Graham makes her curious and sympathetic. He is different from all the men she has known so far. Graham seems genuinely open, and she feels at ease in his presence, and begins to spend more time with Graham. And one day when John leaves for work, she decides to go to his house. There she sees the videotapes, and despite her initial disgust, she agrees to watch one of the tapes. It becomes a real revelation for her. She sees women who talk about their wants and needs freely and confidently in a way that she has never been able to afford. This causes Anne to reflect on her life and her relationship with John. Graham suggests that Anne record a similar video herself, but she refuses, feeling insecure. Meanwhile, John becomes more and more entangled in his lies and double life. He tries to keep control of the situation, but the more he tries, the more things spiral out of control. Cynthia begins to feel used and grows tired of her relationship with John, in which she is only a lover. She is also interested in Graham, who gives her the opposite feelings. She decides to meet him and record a video interview. Unlike Anne, Cynthia is more confident and is not shy about talking about her sex life. Graham in turn seems to be interested in Cynthia, but his interest is different from John's, and he tries to understand rather than exploit. Cynthia records a video, and in the course of the conversation Graham opens up to her about his past, his problems with impotence, which he started after a failed relationship breakup. He admits that the videotapes are a way of dealing with his own fears and insecurities. He admits that he is incapable of having normal physical relationships with women, and the tapes help him interact with them in some way, and discovers that Cynthia has recorded a video with Graham and experiences mixed feelings of jealousy and curiosity. She begins to realize that her relationship with John is based on lies and manipulation. One day she returns home early to find John and Cynthia together in her bed. She runs away in horror and decides she can't stay in this relationship any longer, and returns to Graham's house and decides to record her own video. During the shoot, she opens up to the camera about her feelings, fears, and desires. She confesses that she is afraid of intimacy for fear of appearing weak or funny. During the taping, a strong emotional connection develops between her and Graham that requires no words. It becomes a turning point for both of them. Graham admits that he feels more than just interest in Anne, and that she is the first woman with whom he has been able to feel truly alive, and then returns home and tells John that she wants a divorce. John realizes that he is losing control of the situation and tries to persuade her to stay, but his words are no longer valid. And is determined to start a new life without lies and betrayal. John is furious and leaves and decides to deal with Graham, accusing him of ruining his marriage. He comes to Graham and demands an explanation, but Graham finally becomes determined and firm. He is no longer afraid of John and no longer feels guilty for his failures. John realizes he can no longer control Anne or his life and leaves, leaving Graham alone. Anne and Graham are left alone. Now they realize that new horizons are opening up before them and that their lives will never be the same again. Anne feels liberated from her fears and doubts, and Graham finally finds the strength to live on without fear of his problems. The movie ends on a note of hope and new possibilities for each of them.